a knob of it.
It's all about showing people you're making a knob of it.
Hey everyone, hope you're having a good day. So this is the first renovation video. That was my dad offering me what I believe you could call words of affirmation at the start there. And I do think that making a knob of things is the best way to learn and get better and just kind of get things done. That's kind of how I learn every skill that I have, just making a knob of it. And this video is going to be unscripted. Back in the day when I used to hang out with like Biggie Smalls and Tupac, we would call this off the dome. So for the rest of this video, just please refer to me as Tupac. After uploading last week's video, me and my dad got started on ripping up the carpets, doing a bit of carpet origami, ripping up the underlay, and also taking out the kitchen. And that was just because those were the first things that really needed to be cleared out for the plans that I have, or we have, with this place. So we have done more than previously, because with the tiny house I didn't do anything. I didn't even help with the preparation. I just hired out absolutely everything. But with this, we actually got a little bit hands-on, so the menergy levels were flowing, and it was just quite nice to actually be involved and kind of make a little bit of a difference to the place, do a little bit of a transformation in just a couple of days. It should have really only taken a couple of hours, but when you're filming every little bit, it takes a lot longer. So in the next clip, I get to show you something very exciting we found under the carpets. But first of all, I'd like to quickly thank today's sponsor. Today's sponsor is Filmora, which is what I used to edit this video. Filmora is a very impressive and inexpensive video editing software aimed at creators who want to make professional videos without getting overwhelmed by the process. Their drag and drop system with thousands of built-in effects, titles and transitions lets you easily create engaging videos no matter how new you are to editing. On top of this, they have a built-in library of music and sound effects that you're free to use in your videos, and one really cool feature is that the program is linked to a range of stock video sites. This makes it really easy to drop in complementary footage to make your creations more interesting. For example, if you want a clip of the ocean, it's right there. If you want a clip of a panda falling off his stump, it is also right there. To try Filmora for free, or to enter their Christmas competition where you could win $200 just for sharing a short clip, check out the links in the description. So as I said, in the back bedroom there was something quite wholesome and interesting hidden beneath one of the carpets, and here's some shoddy carpet origami. When I was rolling back the underlay, I found these handprints that one of the previous families had done. They basically drew around their hands, signed it, put the date, and I blurred it just to protect their names. And I didn't want them to lose this, so I took a photo of it, took it into Photoshop, and then cut out all of the hands, tidied them up a little bit, made them digital, and then I dropped them on top of a photo that I'd taken of the hill and our village from a distance. And then I had this little kind of panoramic IKEA photo frame. Junior was very interested in what I was doing here, and I just put the photo in there. Again, blurred it a little bit just so you can't see the exact names. And then I did, in my opinion, quite a neat job of wrapping up the frame for them. I still know the family, they still live nearby, so I just thought that was a nice little Christmas present to, you know, preserve a kind of family time capsule. Is that what you'd call it, I guess? Moving on from that, we finished up the last bit of the carpets and then went on to removing the kitchen, and we decided to take it apart very cleanly rather than just destroying it, because it was actually good enough to give away to someone, and that's what we ultimately ended up doing. Me and my brother were quite happy to just give it away for free, so we took it apart very carefully, collected all the screws, and didn't damage anything too much. The only thing that didn't manage to make it out alive, I guess, was the worktop, and that's just because worktops tend to be like glued down, so you can't really get them off, well, from what we saw, without destroying them a little bit. But that's quite easily replaced by the next person who gets it. So what I did was after we took it apart, took pictures of it all, put it on Gumtree, which is the UK equivalent of Craigslist if you're in America, and I also put it on Facebook Marketplace, and it went to a little old lady just like 10 miles away from us who needed a new kitchen. So she got that for free. She got the washing machine, the fridge, the oven, all of that for free. I should mention that sometimes I'm standing there doing nothing in these clips, and that's just because my dad sometimes wanted to lift stuff by himself. So I'm sure everyone can understand that. I think that's kind of like a common dad thing, that they just like to sometimes do things themselves. So it wasn't that I was intentionally just standing there doing nothing. I'm always willing to help. In terms of what we're going to do with the new kitchen that we want to put in, we have kind of leaned towards putting in a black one, a black and oak one. I've had renders done and it looks really good. I just didn't want to go with another light kitchen like I did with the tiny house, just because I thought that was a bit boring to do the same thing again and again. So I thought maybe push the boat out a little bit and do something just a little bit different. A lot of people were asking, what am I going to do with the tiny house? Am I going to keep it? Am I going to sell it? I've not actually decided. I need to figure out the finances and see if it's possible to keep it, because if I can keep it, I will, because it's kind of like sentimental now that I've done something with that. It was my first house and I'd like to keep it in the family, I guess. I don't know if I'll have kids, but I could always pass it off to my brother's kids if he has them, when I ultimately pop my clogs. So that's kind of the plan. I would like to keep it. This was an important bit. When we took out the oven, we realised that it was still live using this little pen thing. So switched it off and made sure everything was safe, and then started taking that apart. So I should mention that although me and my dad did our best to take this apart ourselves, there will be parts of this renovation that we just can't do ourselves. For example, raising the roof is a huge job and we have no clue how to do that. So I do have a joiner who's basically like running this project. He's class, he's very knowledgeable, very skilled, and he would just make such a better job of it than what we could. I don't want to make a complete knob of everything. I know I said that's the best way to learn things, but I don't want to I don't want to knock down the building. So that's why I am sort of recruiting help for some parts of this, but I will do bits that I can do with my dad, with my family, where possible, and just sort of show you the whole process. So this is what it looked like when it was finished, taken all out, and this was what it looked like after the little old lady's family came to pick up all of the stuff. And it was such a nice space. We didn't clear out the bathroom. We're going to do that eventually when we move on to that phase of the project. And here are the rooms in the back. And thankfully I can report that I eventually figured out how to not make a knob of this taking up the carpet grippers. So it ended up going quite well.